Welcome to Clin Learns, Medical Writing e-learning series. In this video, we will discuss the role of medical writing in post-market setup. We will look at questions like, what does a pharmaceutical company do after a medicinal product is in market? Is there a role for medical writer in the post-market phase? Do you know all medicines have side effects? A pharmaceutical company may have conducted extensive clinical research before launching a drug into the market. But in real-world settings, the drug may behave differently. The drug may show better efficacy than reported in clinical trials, or there may be more side effects than reported in clinical trials. In essence, if a drug is approved for marketing, it does not mean that it is safe or efficacious. Which is the most common medicine used in the households across the world? It's paracetamol, also called acetaminophen. I am sure, all of us must have used this medicine at least once. Do you know what are the risks associated with this medicine? According to the prescribing information of acetaminophen, the most common side effects, also called as adverse reactions, associated with this drug are nausea, vomiting and insomnia. The children may experience other events such as constipation, pruritus, and agitation. These days most of us are into self-medication. Do you know that, if someone receives higher dose of paracetamol that he or she is supposed to receive, this may lead to hepatotoxicity, liver failure, or event death? How do you think a doctor would know about the side effects of a medicine? Or, how would a company that manufactures this medicine know about the side effects? What if these side effects were not observed during clinical trials? The process by which the marketed medicinal products are monitored for emerging safety issues is called post-market surveillance or pharmacovigilance. Conducting the post-market surveillance of the marketed medicinal products is a regulatory requirement. The pharmaceutical companies have to establish processes, systems, and resources in order to stay compliant. We will cover the topic of pharmacovigilance in a separate video. In this video, we will limit our discussion to the medical writing deliverables in pharmacovigilance. There are three key pharmacovigilance deliverables from medical writers' perspective. These are individual case safety reports, aggregate reports, and risk management plans. Let's start with individual case safety reports, commonly called ICSRs. An ICSR is a description of an adverse drug experience related to an individual patient. An ICSR is made up of data elements, such as date of adverse drug experience, name of suspect medical product, and name of manufacturer. We will not get into the details of ICSR, as the scope of this video is to understand the role of medical writer in pharmacovigilance. Although this may be different across organizations, within the ICSR, the medical writer could be involved in developing a section called narratives. The medical writer could either be involved in authoring the narratives or in reviewing the narratives developed by the pharmacovigilance staff. So, what is a narrative? The narrative is a medical story of an adverse event. The event could be a death, a serious adverse event, or any special event of significant interest. What does a narrative include? Pharmaceutical companies generally have a standard template for developing narratives. The content generally describes the nature and intensity of the adverse event. What was the clinical course leading up to the event? What is the timing of drug product administration? Are laboratory measurements available? If yes, what are the results? How do the lab results support diagnosis? What was the action taken with the drug? Was the drug stopped when adverse event occurred? What are the post-mortem findings, if there was a death? What is the reporter's opinion? Does he or she think that the adverse event was caused by the drug in question? The reporter can be either the doctor or the patient himself. What is the opinion of the manufacturer or the pharmaceutical company? Does the company, who made the drug, think that the adverse event was caused by their drug? Some other details such as patient identifiers, like age, gender. What is the current medical condition? Is there a relevant medical history? What are the other medications a patient is taking? Are also included in the narratives. The second set of documents the medical writer may be authoring in post-market setup are the aggregate reports. As the name suggests, aggregate reports present data aggregated over time. But why do we need an aggregated data? Sometimes aggregated data can provide new information. For instance, isolated cases of non-serious events may not suggest any problem with the drug. But when aggregated, the data may reveal new facts. Imagine a person has taken drug A. After taking the drug, the person reported a rash. Let's assume it was a mild rash and subsides within a day. So the doctor does not think it should be reported as a serious adverse reaction. But he or she might report rash as a non-serious adverse reaction. If this was an isolated case, then the event would have been ignored. But let's assume there were more and more cases of rash reported after taking drug A. In this case, the aggregate data on the reports of rash can provide an important signal to the company manufacturing the drug A. Now let's look at the type of aggregate reports. There are two main types of aggregate reports required as per ICH. The Periodic Benefit Risk Evaluation Report and the Development Safety Update Report. The Periodic Benefit Risk Evaluation Report provides aggregated data for the medicinal products approved for marketing. Example, paracetamol. The Development Safety Update Report provides aggregated data for the medicinal products that are still being developed. What do we mean by being developed? Being developed means these drugs are still being tested in clinical trials and are not yet available in the market. The medical writers can be involved in authoring either or both these aggregate reports. The next document a medical writer can be involved with is the risk management plan. What is a risk management plan? The companies are required to submit a risk management plan along with the marketing authorization application. This means, when the company submits the clinical trial data to the health authorities, they are required to submit a plan for managing risks identified with the drug. But what is a risk management plan? Let's assume you have identified a risk associated with a drug. For instance, as we have discussed in the previous slide, we have identified that drug A causes rash. The company that manufactures this drug has to plan and document the measures it is going to take to minimize the risk. In this case, to minimize the rash. These could be either providing a warning on the package or conducting a clinical study to find out if only certain set of people, such as children, are getting rash on using the drug. The content of a risk management plan includes the safety profile of the medicinal product. This is based on the current knowledge that a company has, either from clinical studies or from real-world data. Next, the risks identified with the product have to be described. As discussed on the previous slide, the company that manufactures the medicinal product has to devise risk mitigation or minimization strategies. Broadly, these are the topics to be included in a risk management plan. As a medical writer, you should have sufficient understanding about the safety aspects of the drug. In summary, we have discussed what are the activities conducted by a pharmaceutical company after marketing their products. We have seen why should these activities be conducted. Then we looked at the key pharmacovigilance deliverables in which a medical writer could be involved. We have also discussed the role of medical writer in ICSRs, aggregate reports, and in risk management plans. We hope you found this video useful. For more such resources, please subscribe to our channel on YouTube.